Yo, what's up, people? Welcome to the channel. I'm with my guy, Jay Will, and we are here to talk about all the stuff that's been going on in the TV film industry and how it is impacting the sync licensing business and all of that crazy stuff. Jay, what's going on, bro? How you feeling?
Not too bad, bro. I'm just happy to be here. Finally get another chance to chop it up with you. It's always a fun opportunity and experience. So thanks for letting me jump on with you.
Yeah, man, no doubt. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Let me know where you guys are from and what you guys do so we can see who we have. I see y'all already hanging out. We got Zimzada in the building. What's up, Zimzada? Sensei LJ, what's good? Kim Durr, what's up, Kim? How you feeling?
It's Kim. How you feeling?
Stream Elements bot running. Is that a bot? Like, I don't, or is it a person that's in?
It's probably from my side.
Okay, nice. What's up, Stream Elements? Maybe possible bot. Tella Galovi, will there be a recording? Absolutely. You will be able to go back and watch this as many times as you want to. So yeah. Who else we got? Mike O'Connor, my guy in the building. What's up, Mike? Chris, the only one.
Lit.
Yeah, it's crazy, awesome. Dude. It's crazy. Accidentally first time joining a live feed. What's good? Well, we appreciate you accidentally joining us. It's gonna be lit.
Awesome.
Flownificent. Two awesome sync guys. We appreciate it.
Oh, we got a homie from Manchester. That's what's up.
Nice.
I spent like 6 months out there.
Really?
Yeah. Manchester, Jamaica is amazing.
Love it. Portland, Oregon in the building. Brave and Fortune Studio. We see you. I do live in Bali, not from here though. Super dope. Shay Keys, what's up, bro?
It's 8 a.m. out there.
Yeah. Brandon William. In fact, one of my cousins literally hit me up today, and they're like planning a trip to Bali next year and invited us. So I don't know. Maybe we'll be in Bali this time next year.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah, we just gotta find somebody to watch these kids. That's what we gotta do.
It's always the challenge,
man. Yeah. You matter. Mind your self-care from MA. What's good? Is that what you were talking about? Manchester?
Mm-hmm.
Is that Manchester? Dope. John Power from Louisville, Kentucky. Love it. Omega Johnson sitting in Maryland with my soul. Still in New York City. Rap lyrics, hip hop production. Love it. Miami in the building. Mexico in the building. Producer in Miami.
Moms. Shout out moms.
Shout out to moms. Your mom?
Yeah, my mom just.
What's up, Jay Will's mom? Like we've officially arrived. Anytime someone's mom is in the stream, this is a big deal.
Yeah,
I love it. Shout out to moms. That's awesome. We got let me see, Mexico, Miami, Mary Cinematic. Flares is in the building. Yo, Josh, have you ever heard Flares music? Bro.
This guy's a problem, huh?
Problem, bro. Trailer stuff. Problem.
Oh, sweet.
You can go back. So every night, at Wednesday night, we do live music reviews, right? So he's like an MVP, like a lifetime MVP. So we play him and this other guy, November James. We play their music at the end of every one. Mm-hmm. It's insane, dude. It's crazy. So shout out to Flares in the building. Tim Bird from Newport News, Virginia. I see you. Atlanta, Australia. We got people from all over the place, man. St. Louis. Just finished up a queue right now in time for this. Let's go. That's what we do. Nathaniel Jacobs from Australia. 20XX. Dre Phantom. Shout out to my guy Dre. Super dope. DMV. Yeah, a lot of people. Dave, appreciate that. Canada's in the building. Love it. So listen, man. Let's just talk about it, man. What's been going on in the TV film industry? If you haven't heard or whatever, there's a huge strike involving writers, screenwriters, and actors.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on this, man?
Well, so like from what I've researched and kind of seen myself, because I've only been in the sync world for like maybe 5 to 7 years, so not as much, but like over the last decade, because of inflation and because of streaming. Streaming is actually the biggest reason why all this is happening. The reasoning being that, like, normally for us as musicians, we'd get royalties anytime our music is broadcast on these not streaming platforms, but like cable TV and network television shows and things of that nature. Because when it gets put into syndication and stuff, now you have the ability to collect royalties from that platform. After Netflix got into the scene, no one had any rules for residuals for when your stuff gets played over and over again on the internet. Right. And so they never changed the rules. And over 10 years, like, they've been working more hours. From what I understand, they've been working more hours, but the cost of living's gone up. You have inflation. And so, like, I was reading one report earlier today that was saying that, like, the pay has decreased by 24% just because of inflation. And I think last year was the first time in history where streaming platforms were getting more plays or views than cable and network TV combined. So, like, we've finally arrived to the point to where, like, oh, let's go watch TV, and the first thing you do is turn on Netflix instead of like actual broadcast TV.
Yeah. Because we don't have like cable or anything. It's just all streaming services.
Nope.
So, and we barely watch those, to be honest with you. But it's crazy. So, like, history it leaves clues, and it has a weird way of kind of repeating itself, and we're kind of seeing history repeat itself, because the last time both of these groups, writers and actors, went on strike together, it was because of royalties and the whole it was back, I think it was back in like 1960s or something like that. And it was because of so now we're seeing it again, because there's a new platform, just like, you know, when cable and stuff and TV, all these new TV networks were popping up, and they weren't getting residuals from the movies and stuff that was airing on these TV channels and cable channels. So now we're seeing it again with streaming. And it's crazy, the similarities between what they're fighting for and the issues that we see on the music side as well.
Oh my goodness, it's uncanny, because it's literally the same thing, just the same thing. The integration of new technology, and how are we supposed to get paid from this now? Essentially, is what the problem is. And because of the billions of dollars that a lot of these networks are making, or streaming platforms now, they're in order to live in the area where they can actually put a dent or do damage in the industry, as far as with having work, you have to be in the hub, and it's so expensive. Let me know if anybody in the chat is from LA or lives in the area, because I mean, we feel your pain.
Seriously,
sure. It's not a game there. And it's so not. Like, because of that, it's like, hey, you could pay us, but we're not going to be able to live here. So it becomes like a cyclical issue. So hopefully, the last strike, I think I read something said it lasted about 100 days or so. Yeah. Which is like a good season or so. So, like, it's going to make Hollywood's going to look real empty come this fall if things don't come to terms.
Yeah, dude. And I think, you know, a lot of some people think, or they complain about the fact that, you know, there's huge stars that make all this money. It's like, but what you have to understand is that there's way more actors, the background actors, you know, cast and crew, that, like, everybody doesn't make a ton of money just because you see their face on TV and they're famous, you know what I mean? So there's, like, everyone else outside of the small group of people who are just absolutely just crushing it, that feels this in a way, you know, way more you know, deeper way financially. So it's crazy, man, just to see how it unfolds. But, you know, something has to break. at some point, anytime you see any form of disruption, usually some type of change or
Innovation.
revolution or some innovation follows. So it's tough to go through and see actual humans go through it, and to see how some of these big corporations just feel about humans in general, bro. It's disgusting, to be honest with you. I mean, to literally know that, like, you are putting families out on the streets and people can't feed their families. This is greedy and evil, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, and I tried to be empathetic on both sides when researching this stuff, but like,
Yeah.
just to share some numbers on how ridiculous this is. So the Writers Guild, they're asking for about, I want to say, I'll throw a couple different numbers. So streaming royalties are, just to compare, you normally get within a year about $24,000 for work you've done that year on just royalties from a network television show. With streaming royalties, it can amount to about $400 in 3 years. Like, it's fractions of what they used to get. You can't make a career out of that. And then on top of that, so they're only asking for, let's see, they asked Disney for about 75 million. That's how much they would have to end up paying.
Yeah.
Netflix was 68 million. NBC Universal, they only asked for 34 million. Now, obviously that's a lot of money, but just to put things in retrospect again, Mario, the Super Mario Brothers movie, made $1.3 billion. So it's not even like, it's literally like half a percentage point for them to just like go ahead and make sure that they can continue writing.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Sony, they asked for 25 million, but again, Spider-Man that came out a month and a half ago, that made $500 million.
Yeah.
So like,
and that's
it's
just
literally
one piece of content. Like,
yeah, because they put out like 20 movies a year or something crazy like that.
Right. Yeah, man, it's insane. And then, like, so I was reading this article on EW.com, and they listed out like all the stuff actors basically can't do during strike. So it says when it comes to on-camera work in film, television, and digital content, they are not allowed to act, sing, dance, perform stunts, pilot on-camera aircraft, work as a puppeteer, or participate in performance capture or motion capture work. It also includes work as a background actor, stand-in, photo body double. All off-camera work in support of a performance is also prohibited. So you can't do ADR, looping, TV and theatrical trailers and promos, voice acting, singing, narration, stunt coordination. Pre-production work is also a part of this, dude. So no fittings, wardrobe tests, like interviews, auditions, like none of that. Like, can't do anything. And that's crazy because it's like, if you're an actor and you have a great voice, like you would, like, I mean, there's other things you could do to kind of make money on the side, but because of the agreement and the stipulations,
yeah,
can't do it. So,
which, yeah, it's crazy. Someone asked in the comments as far as with if AI is a contributing factor to writing episodic TV film or TV and film. That's definitely something that they even brought to the table from something I was reading on Vox. They were basically trying to use generative images to basically read people's faces in order to recreate them on as background actors, which is crazy because they weren't going to offer any residuals from that either.
None. That's ridiculous.
So you could be famous and not literally famous as like a background person and never see a dime of it after the day they scan you.
And what I think they were only going to give him like $200.
Yeah, like it was like
I was like 200. So I've done some extra work in films and shows, and you could walk away with more than that just a couple days on set, like, and just be done, and nobody owns like your
image.
Yeah, image and likeness. So it's like that's a slap in the face, bro. $200.
Have you seen that Black Mirror TV episode where they actually like did that?
You know what? I don't think I made it to that episode. I think I got through like I can't remember. I can't remember because I was watching it with the wife and definitely fell asleep because I was tired. But
Yeah, I mean, it drew out a little bit, but like it's crazy because that happened a week or two before like the reports came out. Like, yeah, this is literally what they were trying to do.
wow,
So it's just like, wow, that's wild.
that's crazy, bro. That's
But
crazy.
I guess the real question is how does this affect music producers and indie artists?
Yeah,
Because we know, and we're praying for everybody that's standing on the strike. Because again, there's a lot of sacrifice involved in order for them to really do it.
it is.
But like, how does this affect music producers?
Yeah, man. So we've been kind of we've been asking around like just different other friends who work in this space as well, just to get perspective. It's been conversation just around this topic. One of the things I've noticed is that the TV briefs for TV shows and series, new seasons, those have slowed down a bit, but not completely. I recently, about a couple weeks ago, seen a brief for a new season for a TV show. Still seeing briefs from publishers for production music albums. So there's things that are still moving, and then I also I feel like sports stuff, because it's not scripted, so no one has to write
The rise
the
of
game.
more reality TV shows is going to be crazy this fall.
Yeah, I can see that.
The other interesting thing when it comes to TV shows is that as far as what I've read and understood with the strike, they can still release stuff that, or even do promo if it was something that got finished before the day they actually went on strike. So that's where we come in as far as we normally are on the post-production side of things. So
Yeah.
normally when they're shooting things, this is months before they even let people know like, hey, we have a new idea for a show out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
When they drop the teaser, 9 times out of 10, they got the first couple episodes kind of polished and ready to go, and they're finishing up the rest.
Yep.
So because of that, it's definitely you'll definitely see an uptick in sports, reality TV. What else do you think there's going to be a huge bump? Probably in streaming royalties from like older shows. So if you got stuff in older TV shows, they'll probably throw that stuff on repeat during the fall for sure.
That's what I was gonna say. I think we're gonna start seeing those Love and Hip Hop marathons pop up from New York, Miami, Atlanta, all of them. So yeah, I think we're gonna see a lot of marathons from the reality stuff. So if you've already started, if you waited, I'm sorry, you're just gonna have to catch the next wave. But if you got started in sync and you took action, over the past few years, hopefully you got some stuff in rotation on some of those shows, so that when those replays start going, you'll still see royalties, and they'll continue to pay you, over, the next few quarters or whatever. And then I'm curious. I feel like everything is going to kind of work together to boost, because if you have ads haven't slowed down. I know you do a lot of work in the ad space, which I'm curious to hear your insight on that. But if they're still shooting ads and things like that, they're going to need some content on the air to be able to even make sense of showing the ad. So I feel like
it's kind of going to push them to put out that older content in order for stuff to move, because in order for you to show ads, like people don't turn on the TV to watch the Kleenex commercial. So
right.
But, the in the ad space, and this happened to me during the lockdown when Hollywood shut down just because people thought they were going to die from COVID. I probably had more placements within like a 90-day period from ads more than I'd ever had before. So like definitely something that I would advise for everybody to do, if you're getting into the sync space, is look at diversifying the different platforms where your music can be used. So you have not just promos for products in the ad space, but like video games. Technically, I'm not sure if they have their own department when it comes to hiring actors and things of that nature, but regardless, if it's not a AAA game where they actually use like what is it called, motion capture with when they put the dots on the face and all that kind of stuff. If not 9 times out of 10, most video games don't need that. So like there's plenty of space and a runway to kind of get into the video game space as well. I think, just to put in perspective, I think Grand Theft Auto 5 made like more than like double what some of the biggest movies that year came out with, just from sales. It's not counting the extra, like when you want to buy an outfit or whatever on the game and stuff like that.
Right.
So it's wild how much money funnels into those things.
Yeah. Yep. I think definitely video games, ads, even apps. Like people just overlook apps, like the little because sometimes you think video games, you're thinking Xbox, PlayStation, things like that. But like there's these little cheesy games in the App Store. They need
the game market is phones.
Yeah, man. At the DIY, he put me Greg Savage put me up on that. He was just like, yo, like a lot of times music and like sound effects and stuff is like an afterthought. So sometimes you can reach out to some of the smaller developers and then get in on some sound design stuff and take that and then just kind of backdoor your way into placing your music in there as well. So
you got a portfolio now.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Okay, that's a hidden gem for people in the trailer space too. Is you can still technically count as a placement if you got a whoosh in a trailer. Yeah. So like they pay more than you would think.
Yeah. Firetracks asks, what's the average licensing structure for major games? I'm not sure.
The licensing structure as far as like the royalties are concerned?
Yeah, I heard that too, Luke, about no royalties on games. So it seems like it may just be.
It depends on the structure of the deal, but yeah. I would say normally you don't see it's normally a buyout situation.
Yeah. Flair says Clint be watching 10 Netflix trailers and pass out before picking something to watch. Yo, if my wife seen you say that, she would agree 100%. Like I don't pick like if I'm watching something with the wife, I don't pick because in that moment I'm the most indecisive person ever. Like I'll go through and I'm like, nah. She's like, would you just pick something? So she picks because we'll be asleep by the time I figure it out. Let me see if we got some questions in here. Man. Yeah, I agree, man. Like diversification is huge. Even outside of just your musical skills, you know what I mean? Like what other skills do you have? Like if you have, most producers, we have like the gear to be able to do, professional audio. So you may be able to edit, other people's audio, do some voiceover. I know there's a producer that's in the community where he's a voiceover artist as well and kind of working on his sync stuff. So, think about every skill that you have and how you can monetize it so that if anything does kind of take a dip, you have something else to kind of make up for that until things kind of pick back up, because it's definitely going to pick back up, bro. Like I remember even crazy, dude. Like I remember even after COVID, like once stuff opened up and the production companies figured out a way to, like, they was basically having people like camp out on set. But like once things open back up, it's gonna be go time, bro, and they just gonna be like going through music like crazy. So I think. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say I think now is a great time to really to lock in on your approach, your strategy, and start preparing and building your catalog as well, and maybe getting your foot in the door, because a lot of people, the majority of people, are going to see what's going on. They're going to freak out. They're going to be like, oh, now's not a good time to get in the sync. That's the time to get in the sync because ain't nobody blowing up people's emails. So do the opposite of what everyone else is doing.
Was it that saying, entrepreneurs on a gold rush, they go for the shovels, essentially.
Yeah.
So like when it comes, here's something else. I shared this with my my students not too long ago, when the news first broke. what we should be doing right now, because music supervisors are going to end up not having as much work when if they specialize in TV. So this is a great time to like reach out to them and just like start to establish a relationship, because guess what? They have a little bit more time on their hands if they're not normally drowning in like 6-7 projects. Now it might just only be 4. You know what I'm saying? So it's the perfect time to kind of just like send them a hey, how's it going? Like, hopefully everything's going well as far as with because I mean, everybody is affected by this. It's a trickle down situation. So like, just kind of showing face and finding out ways that you can kind of show support, whether that be morally or there's other things like being involved with the Guild of Music Supervisors and things of that nature. Because again, this whole thing affects everybody.
Yeah, that's a fact. Shout out to Kim. She's talking about my plant. She said the plant in the back is growing so big. What you doing with the grow? I don't water it at all. That's the key, because it's a fake plant. Yeah, dude, I agree 100%. Use this time to start establishing relationships. And it's crazy. So I think depending on how long this thing goes, I feel like it's going to determine how much of an impact we feel, because there's kind of a delay in regards to like production music, because there's already projects in post-production, right? So, you know, that's the stuff we're still working on now. It's the stuff we're still seeing briefs for. So depending on how long this lasts, I think there's like a delayed effect. And, you know, if they come to an agreement sooner than later, then we may not see as big of a dip, as it would be if it was like, I don't know, 6 months down the road after we done finished up all the stuff, and now we're just kind of
all right now.
Exactly.
I sit around with twiddling their thumbs like,
we finished everything, we're done. So yeah.
Definitely something else to kind of keep in mind, like he was saying. Oh, John said that GTA made $7 billion.
Gosh,
oh
what?
my goodness! Yeah, man,
Wow.
Everybody be trying to look cool in the video game and stuff. Like it's a thing.
Yeah.
Microtransactions. But what was I gonna say? As far as with building that catalog, if we know that there's going to be a wave of content that needs to come out soon, like this is the perfect opportunity to come up with like 3-4 different albums of stuff that you could go on IMDb right now and find out the stuff that's on hold right now, and just like, I'm gonna make an album just for this, and when it opens up, I'm already here. Because that's what people do for like the Christmas season, right? Like everybody's pretty much done writing Christmas music for sync around now. Last call is normally in August, so if you already have everything set up, it's just, if you could give anybody a layup, that would be the game plan.
Yeah, it gives you a chance to catch up. Luke said nature documentaries are still going strong. There you go. That's dope.
Facts.
And they use a lot of ambient music, tension music like that. Yeah, dude. You can knock a lot of that stuff out too if they're using like the minimal tension stuff. I love making that. But yeah, I definitely think we'll see a lot more. Bro, like I remember COVID, bro. They were literally just making up shows and just putting them out there. Like I had a placement on one. I was like, "What is this?" It was literally like a one-off show during COVID on MTV. It was some lady was like in her house and just in her living room, and they just created content from it. But I guess I don't know. I guess that may fall though. That may fall under the
Who knows, man? Especially with like, if the writers aren't able to kind of do their job, I would assume that studios are going to try to replace them with what everyone's talking about in the chat with like AI stuff. And like, obviously, because I'm not paranoid, but I just don't want to become old and not know how to use the technology that everybody else is using. Right. I've been really trying to like get into using the new tools that are out there. And there's still a lot of gap between what is being used or written by a professional versus a super fancy autocorrect. So we might see a dip in quality if nothing happens with the strike.
Yeah.
But you also have the opportunity as well, like Clint said, as far as with learning another skill, whether that be learning a new genre to write, incorporating more of these tools to make your production faster and more
Yeah.
expensive. Like those are definitely the things that I would definitely jump into.
Yeah. Agreed. Firetrack says Tubi type shows filmed with with cell phone. We're gonna start going for the Tubi placements now. But yeah, dude. So I'm curious, like, how have you been using AI in regards to producing music? Because I guess first I'm trying to find because I emailed one site because I want to find a site first off that will allow you to use the tool but also retain 100% ownership, because we need that, right?
Right.
To be able to generate things to where, you know, maybe it's just a 8-bar idea, just to generate the idea to increase output faster, right? So now, boom, you got the idea. Usually that takes the most time, like coming up with the idea. But now if you can generate a bundle of ideas, now you just go through, do what you need to do, add your sauce, and you know, you've kind of 10x your workflow. But how have you been using it, or how do you kind of hope to use it as it improves?
That's kind of what I've been doing lately. Is have you seen? They showed it at NAM. Splice has their AI to pick samples that are similar to each other and stuff. Have you seen that?
I don't think so. No.
Bro, like with the click of a button, you can have an idea with 4 loops, drums, bass, chords, and a melody.
Oh wow.
And you can just siphon through them and find ones you like. You can take the drums out if you want. Yeah, I think it's called Stacks.
Okay.
And if you have Ableton, I think you can literally just transport them right into the DAW. You can just go.
Okay.
I've been using it to, yeah, just for inspiration, because I can't use the loops anyway. So if I could just get a groove and I can come up with my own melodies and stuff, like it works. So
Yeah.
like doing things like that, I think help tremendously. You can also ask Chat GPT to come up with like synth patches for Serum, which is crazy. You just
Really?
ask it like my stuff. Hey, I need something that sounds like, I don't know, a Chainsmokers song or whatever, and it'll if it was published before 2021, it'll give you the instructions on how to make the patch. It's pretty crazy.
Wow. That's dope. That's
I
dope.
also use it for sound design too. So the series that I started with like making blockbuster sounds like the dinosaur and the transform, for the transformer sound, I just asked the Chat GPT or whatever, like what sounds would I need to culminate to this kind of texture or whatever, and it gives me like a big list. So that's really cool. I wouldn't use it for writing lyrics yet.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad.
It gets
But
weird.
word association, if you're trying to get into that wordplay, is a good way to kind of get that done. So
It's
it's
kind of
just
like
me.
those. It's kind of like those AI generated pictures where, like, if you look closely, bro's the thumbs be looking like mad distorted. Yo, yeah, I've been seeing a lot of those lately. I'm like, or like there was one picture, and the guy had like some fancy cars behind him, but literally, bro, it was supposed to be 2 cars, but like the cars were
I thought it
connected to
was.
each other. It was crazy. I'm like, yeah, they got some work to do. That's why I'm not worried yet. Like people be like, are you worried it's gonna take over? It's like, bro, like it needs some work and it needs us. But here's one thing I noticed, bro, and I don't know if you noticed this as well. But so there's some stock music sites out there. Pond 5 is one that I have some music in. So what these sites have been doing is they've been paying, creators on the roster a random fee. This randomly happened one day. They paid a random fee and pretty much included your music to be used in a data set for AI. And it reminded me of kind of what's going on with the whole strike thing, with like giving people
Use,
$200 and
oh
then
yeah.
using their stuff in perpetuity. Because it's like, so it's kind of the same thing. Like here's a set of music, you use it to teach your thing, and then we don't need you anymore. Here's your $80.
Mm-hmm.
So Have you seen that? And I thought it was interesting. And yeah,
Yeah, I think that the problem that they're going to run into is that it's not, you can't copyright it because a human didn't make it. So if you're using a finite data set, you can only make so many tracks before it's going to sound like something that someone else already made, and you can't win the dispute because technically a human didn't make it. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So copyright, I think, is going to slow down the whole AI takeover, if you will, just because like
Yep.
who owns this? That's
Yep.
something that they haven't really figured out yet.
Yeah. I seen some sites where their business model was, here's the AI software to create, quote unquote royalty free music or whatever. But at each subscription tier, say the lowest one, they're like, hey, you can use it to create the music and put it in your videos or whatever, your content, but this company is the owner of what you created. Yeah, and then you got to get the premium joint if you want to kind of retain the rights for that. So that was interesting.
You either gonna get down or lay down. That's
Exactly.
crazy, bro. But
So,
like,
yeah.
I mean, ownership, that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing. So that's I think the best way to kind of abide by it is to use it as a tool and get that inspiration going, and continue to make stuff human made. I can't wait for the day that, like, you know how you go to the grocery store and it's got like raised by like grass fed chickens and all this kind of stuff. Like,
Yeah.
soon enough we're gonna have tags on our music like made by a human.
By a human. Exactly. Yeah, man. There's nothing like it. It's gonna go. They're gonna call it organic music now. It's just gonna be like
Organic.
Yep. It's gonna be a whole brand. Crazy. Shout out to Excalibur Zero in the building.
Oh, he's in the building. What up, bro?
Indeed. Yo, he mentioned something too. I think it was he said it was an editor or something. I guess they had started seeing a slowdown on some reality show stuff. Correct me if I'm wrong, Excalibur. But I thought that was interesting too. I guess it really depends on like the show, the network, or
what kind of deal they have set up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. I wonder. Oh, here's another thing that I think might happen due to AI is that if you can, and this is just, I'm thinking like maybe a couple years in the future if everything continues to advance at the rate it is. Yeah. But like, what's to stop music producers or just creatives from becoming their own reps if they have a trained AI to sound like them anyway?
That's true.
What do you think? Like, I mean, you still have to do the human contact and stuff, and humans are the best at curation. So if you don't like what it's doing, you can always just change it. True. But I mean, if you can make music at scale, like, why wouldn't you? You know what I'm saying? Especially because like, you ever get one of those briefs from like a creative team, and they always have the briefs that are like, make this sound like more yellow with a hint of like John Wick or something. It's like, what is this? This does not translate to music.
Right.
So like, I think that we might have the advantage as far as with like curation still.
Yeah, that's true. Because I mean, I think again, there's you're always going to need kind of that human element either on the creation side or the curation side to get the best possible work. Because at the end of the day, you're creating this stuff for other humans to consume. So, and we can tell when like something's off. Like it's just not it. So I think that's interesting, especially if it's just like literally building of like a virtual team of composers, and then you just represent the catalog of music. And then go sit on the beach and collect royalty checks and
because I mean you see it in the music industry all the time with like bigger name producers, and they have like their guys in the dungeon kind of just like typing away, making all their stuff.
Yep.
So I mean, it could totally be done. It's probably more fair that way too, instead of like them not getting the recognition they probably deserve because they're put under somebody else's name. So
that's a fact. That's a fact. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, for sure.
We'll see. I definitely trying to keep my ear to the ground about that stuff because this stuff changes so quickly, man. Just think, what was it? The this whole wave of AI happened less than a year ago. I would say, like, what was, I think March is when like everything kind of exploded.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just crazy how stuff develops.
Yeah, it's moving fast. We got a question from Ron Jones. Do you need to have the full rights of a beat when purchased from a producer for a music supervisor to use it, or could I just get an unlimited beat license and they'll be okay with it?
Ooh, that's a good question.
It is.
Normally, what I always suggest is, first of all, as an artist, I always recommend that you find a producer that is kind of also looking to head towards sync, because now you don't have to pay for anything. Because normally in the sync licensing world, when you have an artist duo with a producer team up, like they just split the royalties 50-50. And that way there's no weird incentive as far as with, okay, I don't like how this is sounding, now you're obligated to change it because I paid you and all that kind of stuff. It just becomes very weird.
Yep.
So I always recommend for guys to find producers that are working in this stuff already, and you don't have to worry about paying. But in regards to your case, I would probably try to find, either contact the producer and have them make you something like it, because if it's already out there on the internet, someone else might have bought it and published it with their own lyrics on it already, and you'll end up in the same content ID issue.
Yep.
So like,
don't want
that.
that.
That's what I would suggest.
Yeah, agree 100%. Yeah, Excalibur said the editor connect at Netflix said they're halting production for a few reality shows. So yeah,
that means that some of them are scripted.
Yeah, exactly. They just
Low
gave
key.
it away. Mm-hmm. Joe Tim says, how complicated would it be to build your own sync agency while everything is quiet now? So like when work does come back for TV, there can be some new players in the game, or am I dreaming too big?
Never are you dreaming too big. Yeah, I think that's a really cool idea.
It is.
Low-key, Excalibur is doing it right now.
Literally. He's documenting the whole process on his Instagram.
Low-key, I'm going to have to interview him on that, man, because like I think that's a really cool idea.
Yep.
Just because if you've ever watched any sync conferences before, a lot of the music supervisors that are doing it, a lot of them have a music background. So it makes it so much easier when they read the briefs and they can give us the instructions we need so that we can fulfill their asks. So like, I think it's a really, really cool idea. If you have downtime like that, again, it's just another skill.
Yep. Facts. And then like Jay mentioned earlier, the fact that supervisors are slowing down, or they don't have as much on their plate right now, it could be the best time. Again, going against the grain, like while everybody's freaking out saying, work is kind of drying up, you're out there building the relationships. And then when everything picks back up, guess who's getting all the work?
You already here. Yeah, exactly.
Yep. So I think, yeah, man, now's a good time to kind of stay in front and stay in touch with your publishers, your agents, and things like that, so that, you'll be top of mind when everything else comes back. John Power says, curious what conversations entertainment attorneys are having around AI, if they're thinking about pioneering new regulations, copyright laws, or are they waiting to see how things. They need to. They have to.
They are already,
because that's the biggest issue.
They're like, whoa.
Yeah, man. Yeah, because I think everything, like a lot of it like goes back to like the law and like how dated it is. It's just like, y'all need to update this stuff because it doesn't apply to a lot of things that are happening right now in 2023.
Mm-hmm. Even the sheer language that's sometimes used in those documents, you can tell it was like written 40 years ago.
Right.
So, yeah, it's definitely. I think that kind of like language has sped up tremendously in the last like 5 years too, just because of how short attention span we are, so we have to move to the next thing so quickly.
Yeah.
It's I feel like everything needs a huge update.
Yeah, man, for sure. Isaiah Hill says, in you all's opinion, sync agencies or music libraries, and is it easier to make a living off of one versus the other? That's a great question. So I think you probably work with more agencies, and then I work with a lot of libraries, a couple agencies. I think it's possible to make a living either way. I think with the agencies, you're going to see a lot more of the custom work, and usually custom work equals more money. So you may not have to do as much work to make a living if you have some really solid agents who have their hands in some dope projects. Library stuff, you can get some custom stuff as well. I just feel like comparing the libraries that I work with agents that I work with, I feel like I see a lot more like upfront money opportunities with the agents versus library stuff. And then of course the bigger publishers where, we're putting together production music albums, we see, money up front for that stuff, as well. But I think it really just depends on your output. And,
Sure.
cause I mean, if you could be with some agents and only send 3 tracks a year, and it's not going to happen for you.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? So what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, my recommendation is just do both. Like, there's no reason why you can't. It'll force you to make more music, which is always a good thing because the more you make, the better normally you'll get.
Yeah.
And also when it comes to that, if you're showing a work ethic where you're sending them more music, you're going to end up getting more custom asks just because they know you're good for it.
Yep.
But I will say, I was talking to a supervisor. I've actually interviewed a couple of supervisors, and they've said that normally they'll go to agents first because either they have more of a personal relationship with them and they know that they can get something to them within a deadline versus, I mean, what would you rather do? Would you rather go to, like, when you go to a Versace store, you're going to have someone greet you at the door and they're going to kind of help and show you the new catalog that they have versus going into a Walmart, someone saying, hey, and then like you have all these things you have to look through. Like you don't know where to find the barbecue pits, for instance. You know what I'm saying? If you're on a deadline, like I need something right now, I'm probably going to hit up the homie first. So like normally, like Clint said, I think the frequency of things that may come up for decent bread normally come around the agents. But depending on how much music you got in the library, if you own a whole entire aisle of a supermarket store, like you're probably going to end up with a lot more getting placed anyway. So it's
exactly. Yeah. Dave says if I get if you have existing relationships, you want to stay in touch with those people so that they know you're still there. But what if you're brand new? Should we still be making that initial contact?
That's the best time.
Yeah, absolutely. Like students, I had students that literally just finished up in the TV placement mastery program, and they all came out of the program with licensing deals, like literally a couple weeks ago. So, and the strike has been going on for like the majority of those 12 weeks we were working together. So, absolutely. And
the other amazing thing about that is that if you can and this is how I kind of got into making more personal relationships too, is that like you go in saying, hey, I'm new at this, I'd love to get your expertise, can I buy you a burrito? Like that goes so far, it makes no sense. For 30 minutes of your time, like, hey, I'm trying to understand this without pitching anything. Like don't share your music or anything like that, just try to gain more information, kind of like what we're doing here. And people, they'll give you 30 minutes.
And guess what'll happen at the end of the conversation? They will ask you if they can hear some of your music, usually, without you even asking.
Naturally.
Yep. Eli Carter has a good question. Says, do you guys think producers making instrumental albums will find their pocket in sync, or should we strive to get lyrics on the beats? Just depends on what the company is looking for, I guess. What you think?
Yeah, I mean, I technically would refer to myself as an instrumental composer / producer. I want to say like 92% of the stuff I make never gets vocals on it. So I mean, it's totally possible, especially if you work in ads, because 9 times out of 10 they need vocals moved out the way so they can do their voiceover. So like, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. There's absolutely opportunities for instrumentals, and then I'm also seeing a lot of opportunities, a lot more for vocal stuff. So it's really about, again, the combination of both. You do a full song, you can't go wrong because you're going to have an instrumental just from the full song anyway. But if you're doing something more specialized, such as trailers, then, I mean, you can't go wrong either way. And then, especially for TV show stuff, like, people are talking, so they don't want, they're only using like those full songs during like scene transitions and stuff like that, or like those little montages and stuff like that. So
features, montage stuff. Yep.
Excuse me. Yep. Clifford Bob says, so is it annoying, disrespectful gnats just flying around? It's crazy gnat season. The fake plant is attracting gnats. It said, is it a numbers thing? Is sync in quantity over quality, or could I do like 4 to 5 1-minute tracks every other month and find myself landing deals? I think over the past few years, the whole quantity over quality thing has kind of been crushed. Like, they're wanting quality as well now. Like, you can't get away with what they used to be able to get away with like 10 years ago.
Everybody has access to the same tools now.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if you go watch like some of the older reality shows, you'll hear a lot of GarageBand loops, Apple loops, and stuff like that on that stuff. Now, I mean, they'll tell you right away, like, yo, like, we've already heard, we can do this. The editors can put together some loops and create 30 seconds. You know what I mean? So I think now, like, the quality has definitely leveled up. But I think it's about finding that balance of, getting as much as you can without sacrificing the quality in the music, and still putting together like some stuff that sounds good. So
so I guess the answer would be both. You want to make many good tracks instead of many bad ones, I guess.
You're right. Yeah.
Better terms, but like, I think that, I mean, who would want to just make bad music? That's not ever normally the goal. So you'll get speed by making good stuff and recognizing, okay, if I do this again, I'm going to get the same outcome.
Yep.
So like, you go slow, that's how you end up getting faster.
Facts. Yep. Kim Durr, did you hear what Charleston White said about registering his voice to get paid whenever he speaks online? It's an amazing idea. That's crazy. No, I haven't. I'm gonna have to check it out. Charleston White. That makes sense though. Like, cause is his voice? I don't think it's considered intellectual property, but that's likeness, right?
It's likeness, because like, I know. I mean, for instance, I have 3 younger brothers, and we all sound the same, just because like we all were around each other. So like, it'd be hard to do with a likeness standpoint, because now with technology you can mimic anybody. Yeah. But that's interesting. And how would you like go on like TuneSat and just have it scour the area for your voice?
For your voice. But but then that shifts everything from, like, what if you're an impersonator, like a comedian who like does people's voices? Like, does royalties have to be paid out for that?
Yeah.
Do you need a clearance? You need a licensing agreement now to impersonate somebody? That's crazy.
I don't know, man. But data in people's likeness is going to be very valuable in the next 2 years.
Yep. I agree.
Because as soon as I saw that stuff about mimicking voices, like with the whole Jay-Z and the Drake remake or whatever that happened earlier this summer or
Yep.
like the spring, like I immediately went to like, this is so incriminating. Like this is gonna be a serious problem.
Yeah. Cause I mean, yeah, that's where my brain went. It's just like, yo, especially if it's some stuff out there that just like, yo, this does not represent me in the best way. Exactly, man. So it's like, yeah, that I think that is going to be huge, for sure. So yeah, we'll see how it all pans out. LW says I'd pay Charleston White not to talk. Paul says, how many tracks do you guys make every week or month in order to generate revenue doing this?
That's a good question.
I get that question a lot, and honestly, it's different every week and every month, man. Because
life gets in the way.
Yep. I think starting out, and I think it depends on where you are in your career too. Like starting out, I was like the minimum was like 5 a week. Like I would get briefs pretty consistently, and every brief I would try and submit like 3 to 5 a week just to just keep something going and just to because I probably had like a couple placements. I was trying to get more. So that yeah, man. So the output was crazy, but now depends on the briefs. Catalog is working for you, so you don't have to grind as hard, but I think it just really depends. And then doing multiple things within our businesses, sometimes you're putting on different hats during different parts of the week, versus before, you could focus more on just one area. So yeah. So it depends.
I think for me, it was very similar as well. Like I was making 4 to 5 tracks a week when I first got into it. And now it's like, instead of 4 or 5 okay tracks, now it's become like 1 or 2 custom or like really high production quality. Just because, like you were saying, the catalog's working for me. I have like over 1,500 to 2,000 songs that are just out there being pitched all the time. And then now that I have, not residuals, but it's just a constant stream coming from that stuff. Now I can kind of slow down, make better stuff, or work on artist duo projects and things of that nature that I'm really like passionate about.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Good question. Latte Lawyer posted it and it's interesting. Yeah. Shout out to the Latte Lawyer. Revision says, would you guys say having a website is a big advantage when pitching? I feel it's already tough getting libraries to even listen, let alone look at a website. Bro, I don't even have music on my website because I use Disco. So if I'm sharing a playlist, it's all coming from Disco.
And it's built like their new platform. What is it called? Pages is built like an EPK for your music anyway. Yeah, and if you send them a Disco link, they're more likely going to click that than a website anyway, because that's what they use to organize their catalog.
Yep.
So I mean, low key, that's the game right there.
Yeah. And we'll take just a couple more. Tim Bird says, have any of you tried Real Crafter to pitch your music to supervisors? I've heard of it. I've never tried it though.
I've heard some music supervisors become flattered from actually getting a reel instead of a disco, but it depends on what they're if they're in rather the TV field versus like the ad field. Because if it's for ads, like 9 times out of 10 it doesn't matter as long as it sounds high quality. Right. But that's a good point that you normally are reaching out to visual people. So if they can see what you're capable of, it normally translates a lot better than just, okay, I can hear where this could go.
Yep. Yeah. Agreed. Sarah Jane says, how do you guys feel about offers from a library that wants your song in perpetuity? I had to do it because like in perpetuity, man, listen, I say in perpetuity and people's faces are like, oh, that's forever.
Hold up. Yeah. You gotta be careful with those.
Yeah, man. So I have some deals that are in perpetuity. I don't obviously my entire like you definitely want to be careful because you want to make sure like you're not in an exclusive deal where everything you create is going through this company that wants everything in perpetuity. Then you're
Oh,
pretty much screwed at that point. But if I'm able to still create new masters with other companies and do different deals outside of that publishing deal, um, then I'm okay with it, especially if the company is getting placements for me. Because if it's in perpetuity and they're getting placements, then that means I'm getting royalties in perpetuity as well, or
mm,
sync fees in perpetuity. So I think it's up to you what you want to give them. If I'm doing instrumental cues and production music albums, I don't mind it because it's like I can go make another orchestral hip hop cue. Like it's easy, you know what I mean? So I don't mind it as much, especially if it's working. So that's my thoughts on it.
yeah, it's not absolutely necessary as far as with the fact that like you have the capability to make more. And if normally if they're asking for it in perpetuity, it's because they normally are they have a lot of people asking for stuff, and
Hmm.
it's too hard for them to keep track of what's in their library versus what's out.
And then the
Um,
hassle of pulling it out and
yeah. So normally with those deals that you normally will have a better percentage as well, if I'm not mistaken, when it comes to like instead of 50-50, maybe it's a 60-40 deal or something like that.
yeah.
So like there's ways to negotiate with that kind of stuff. But perpetuity, you just don't want to have all your eggs in that basket.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, man. So listen, man. I don't know if the people know or not, but we've been working on something.
Oh yeah.
Um and I'm excited about it. I know you're excited about it, and it's something that we're both passionate about. And I don't know, man. I think it's time. I don't know, to just take it to a next level. So I don't know. You
Yeah,
you can you tell the people a
yeah,
little
so
bit.
let me ask everybody in the chat real quick. Like how many people have gone to like different sync conferences across the country, or even there's a couple different ones that are international as well. Like
Yeah,
how many
drop in the
people have gone
chat.
to those kinds of things? Normally you'll have talks like this, where there's a Q&A, you have more qualified people that are directly in the industry. Like for instance, I think one year during the pandemic, SyncCon had Jim Malone from
Mm-hmm.
Euphoria,
Yep.
and that was really really cool to kind of like pick her brain as far as that kind of stuff. And we figured, you said, yeah, the name. That's actually where the idea kind of came from, as far as what. So when myself, who else was there? Daraj, DeFingers, Clint,
Everybody.
everybody that does anything with sync and shares it on social media has been we got together and did a really cool panel for about an hour, and we were like, yo, why don't we just do this ourselves? Like we could probably do a lot of damage as far as with including, especially on the minority side of things, with getting more people involved in sync licensing, because again there's so much bread to be made out there. And it's just something passionate for me because just personally, I grew up as a orchestrally trained musician. I was the only chocolate chip in the cookie, so to speak. Like it was really cool to see like more people that looked like me in this area of the industry
Yeah.
in that moment at NAM. So what we've done is we are currently, actually it's almost pretty much finished.
Yeah.
We've made our own sync conference, and it's going to be
Facts.
focused on the minority side of the music creation sector of things. We're going to talk about some of the stuff we talked about today, but with even more qualified people to talk about like AI, how the diversity of inclusion is continuing to happen nowadays, not just with minorities in the sense of ethnic backgrounds, but even genders. So that's going to be really cool.
Yep.
And it's called, let me see if I can find it real quick. There it is. It's called Shades of Sync. And I was super excited to get the acronym going. So Shades of Sync, Shades showcasing heritage, advocating diversity, and elevating sync licensing. That's what we're trying to do with this. It's going to happen November 4th. We would love to have you guys come through and vibe with us. It's going to be digital at this moment in time, but if we have enough sponsorship, we're looking forward to maybe doing it in Atlanta. So let me know if that would be something you guys be interested in. Latinos are definitely considered minority, my friend.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. There's been a huge gap in representation, and you know, the higher up you kind of go into getting this and establishing yourself, you start to notice, you know, there's a lot less women, there's a lot less diversity, BIPOC creators in this space, and I was even talking to a super dope human being about it, Steph Fink, because she's passionate about it as well. And, you know, one of the things that she kind of pointed out to me when we were having a conversation was just the fact that it's not necessarily intentional all the time. Like, they're not trying to necessarily keep us out, but it's just like when it comes down to short deadlines and it comes down to giving the gig to someone, they're going to give it to the person who has the experience. And it's hard for us to get the experience if there's not more of us experience to be able to teach the up and coming ones so that they can get the experience too, or in the form of mentorship or education, whatever it is. But that's where the gap is coming. So we wanted to create something where we can all come together, we can educate one another, we can sharpen each other, and really grow and continue to, you know, grow within this space and just have, you know, more representation. So I'm excited about it, man.
It's going to be really, really cool. We got a couple different guest speakers that are going to be coming through. We're going to definitely have one of the reps at Disco come through and talk about how to use their new platform that's coming out soon. We're going to have video game specialists. We have entertainment lawyers to kind of help us with understanding exactly how we can make sure that we're manipulating and using our copyright to the full extent and our advantage. So there's going to be a lot of really, really cool. By the end of the weekend, you're going to know everything that you need to know.
Yeah, facts. So yeah, man, it's going to be dope. So we're doing something special for y'all because y'all been kicking it with us for like the past hour. There is a link in the description where you can get access to the early bird pricing, and it's only for a limited time, and then it's gonna go up. So if you want to get that early bird pricing, definitely do that. Me and Jay, we were actually talking about, you know, possibly even, you know, giving you guys something a little extra, just for getting in early. So super excited, and man, it's gonna be crazy because, you know, we've been to a lot of different conferences and things like that. We just like, yo, like, it's great information, don't get me wrong, but some of these joints we need a little bit of sauce, and the sauce
not even just that, just some updates,
just some
and I mean, yeah, it's crazy because like normally I see people on the panel, and I mean, granted, I'm not young, but I'm not old either. And like some of the stuff, y'all missing so much stuff that's happened in like the last 6 months that
recent
kind
stuff.
Yeah, that doesn't make what you're saying irrelevant, but it kind of changes the perspective a bit. And so I don't want that to ever happen ever again, just because now you have to kind of figure out, okay, is this information need to be updated? Do I need to go for another source and try to find the answer I'm looking for? Like, we're trying to stop that. So super excited about it. We're going to try to have as many different speakers as possible. And we were even thinking about like having like a show for like some of the sync artists that are out there that are really doing it. I think it'd be kind of cool. So yeah, come through. We're actually also going to open up a channel on the Instagrams of the world to do some grassroots stuff as well. So if there's anyone that you would specifically like to see on the panel, We're way open to suggestions, and would love to kind of build this thing together because it's for us. You know what I'm saying? So the more we can kind of build it and tweak it so that we can get the most out of it, the next time we do it, hopefully, we'll have it even more catered towards exactly what we're looking for.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely look out for that IG channel to come out, because we want you guys' feedback. We want your input, and we want to build it together. I think it's going to make it fun, and it's going to make it mean more to you. Like when it just makes it better. And I think that's something that's missed a lot too. It's just the input from the people who are actually showing up. It's just like, what do you need right now? Like, what are some of the challenges that you have? What would you like to see? What kind of experience would you like to have? So that's what we want to do for you all, and we think it's going to be a huge help in kind of launching you into your own sync career. Like, this is something that has changed both of our lives, and has had a humongous impact on our careers as producers, composers. So to be able to share that with other people, I mean, that's what we do. That's why y'all see our faces all the time on social media, because we're just passionate about it. Yeah, man, just sharing this info. So definitely. Go ahead, my bad.
No, I was just saying, if there's any way that I can help someone else bring food onto the table with something they're already amazing at, then why not? So like, definitely hit us up. Oh, we got what does that say? Divinson is asking about sponsors. Yes, we are in the process for sponsors, so hit us up for sure.
So yeah, it's gonna be dope. LW says you don't look a day over 30, by the way. So. That's a good thing.
It's the lighting. That's what it is. I'm working on my lighting here.
Yeah, man. So the link to that is in the description of the live. Once we finish the live, the video will still be up, so you'll be able to rewatch it, and you'll be able to access the link in the description as well. And then I'll drop it in the chat, just so you guys can have it. Let me see.
Patty asked if it's in person only. It's actually going to be digital, and then we're going to eventually bring it to a hybrid situation if all goes well. So
yeah,
keep in tune for that.
Yeah. Would you guys like to hang out with us in person for like a whole, I don't know, day, 2 days maybe? I don't know. I think it would be dope to meet a lot of y'all in person. We met some of y'all at NAMM, which was super dope. So
and, I mean, to get feedback like straight from like in real time would be kind of fun too, just because like I don't think I've ever done it in real time, like face to face before. So I think that'll be kind of interesting to do as well, because everybody's music sounds different when someone else is critiquing it. You know what I mean?
True. Yeah. Yep.
That'll be fun.
Absolutely, man. So that's it, man. This was a dope conversation. Hopefully, you guys got a lot of value out of it and insight on everything that's going on. And hopefully it encouraged you to like still keep pushing and shooting for sync and getting your music placed and getting your licensing deals, because there's still opportunities out here. Like, we're still getting briefs. Like, I literally got a brief like 2 days ago, and I'm probably about to work on it as soon as we finish this call. So we're still working. We haven't gotten put out our homes yet. So now's the time to go for it. LW says party at Clint's house when it's in Atlanta. Oh man, yeah. So yeah, I don't know. It may be a party at mine. I don't know, but hopefully, man, you guys come through it. I think it's gonna be dope. Any last words, Jay?
No, other than we appreciate you guys coming to vibe with us. Hopefully, like he said, you got some value out of what we've been kind of researching ourselves into the whole strike situation. Continue to grind, because I mean, this is when there's things that are out of balance like this, there's definitely opportunity to kind of gain some footing. So definitely, if you have questions, by all means, make sure you comment on our content, because we read all the comments.
Indeed. Well, that's it. We'll catch you guys on the next one. We out. Peace.